3, 2, 1. I'm getting the hang of it now. Good afternoon, people. It's Luke Marshall here, and today I wanted to record a video around life hacks for understanding data. Now, data does not excite a lot of people. It can be overwhelming, it can be confronting, and when I'm talking to clients, generally they don't know where to start. And so what I wanted to share today, and for my followers, was some life hacks for understanding data. And I'm deliberately keeping away from the numbers because, the numbers can be confusing. What you're really looking for is the story behind the numbers. So I'm going to share with you 5 hacks for sort of helping understand the data and increase your interpretation of that data, so that then you can action whatever it is. I think that's really helpful. It's easy to get caught up in the analysis and the rigmarole. Instead, it's actually the actions you take that are the most important. And I thought I'd share a few things first, which sort of led to this video, which is the first full month of data that I have for my website, which is being set up with Google Analytics. Now, if we have a look at the bottom here, LinkedIn has netted me 9 users of traffic. And if I look at this, the bounce rate is absolutely huge. Interesting. So as a business owner, if I was relying on LinkedIn for traffic and conversion, and not many people were coming through that would be a point of concern. Fortunately, I use LinkedIn for many other reasons and also share videos for many other reasons. So just a little prompt there. You should always be looking and asking questions at the data, particularly your own. Before I jump into those 5 examples, I just want to stress there is no substitute for practice, experience, and pattern recognition when it comes to data. Those 3 factors, I think, are some of the most important that go into data, and getting your hands dirty and getting familiar with data sets and what to look for. It comes with practice. It also comes with runs on the board and experience. And then over time, you also get a feel for the flavors and patterns that come up with data. One that's really helpful is fatigue. So generally in marketing, and particularly digital marketing, you'll see that things won't be as effective over time. And that's a pattern you can recognize with either short time spans or long time spans. And you learn to see things that other people won't over time. Anyway, in the absence of those 3 things, these life hacks are going to help you in the absence of those things. So first one, story time. So, this is going well. But the reason why I wanted to include this slide is because I started my career doing reporting for a bank, and I hated it. Like building reports in Excel, looking at impressions, clicks, click-through rates, and mapping it to signed up accounts. So for high interest online savings was one of them, and really begrudged crunching the numbers. It took half my week at the start, and it was awful. And those skills are compounded over time. I continue to build reports from time to time. It's a skill I haven't wanted to lose, but it transfers. So looking at other data sets that perhaps might not be as performance or digital marketing led, some of that moves over. And so being able to craft a compelling story with data is a skill I learned early on in my career, and I think will continue to pay dividends as time goes on. So there's my little story. Cool. First hack, add some time. So Chet Holmes in The Ultimate Sales Machine, which is an excellent book, talks about the smoking gun. Smoking gun can generally be a really compelling and killer stat that is enhanced by adding time. Ways you can add time, you can stretch it. So what's this look like over a year? Has it improved? What's this look like over a decade? Is it trending up or is it trending down? Seasonality is another way to do this. This works well in summer, but doesn't work well in winter. History, benchmarks, and common sense. So I actually think you want all 3 of these when you're evaluating a data set. When I talk about history, I'm talking about your own history from the data that's being created. So if you're responsible for this data, how has this performed over time? Like, did this work as well as the last campaign? Did this work as well as the campaign we did a year ago? And using those historical reference points to evaluate what you're doing now is super powerful. I also like to overlay that with benchmarks. Now, I used to hate being on the sales side of things, a publisher, and having lazy planners ask me, what's the benchmark for this category with your platform? I think that is a bad case of, we just need a benchmark so we know if we did well or not. If you don't have historical data as well, then, benchmarks don't mean anything. But benchmarks can be helpful just as a rule of thumb or a frame of reference. So a really good one, a conversion rate, which can be anywhere from 0.5% through to 15% on a landing page. If you're seeing a conversion rate of 50%, maybe something's wrong. Maybe something's not set up correctly. Maybe there's leaky traffic, or it's really low and only 1 in 1,000 people are taking action on your page. Having an idea of those benchmarks can be really helpful, but they're even more helpful with historical data. Common sense, absolutely. So if 1 in 2 people are doing something, chances are your data's wrong. Just evaluate it against that sort of litmus test. If 900 of the 1,000 visitors have clicked, it sounds too good to be true. So applying a bit of common sense to those numbers can be really helpful. Look for drama. So if there's a dramatic change in numbers, it's gone from 0 to 0, it's been a steady climb, something's fallen off a cliff. These are all dramatic things that happen with a data set, particularly over time. So you want to look for that and ask why. And if you don't have a good reason why, your boss is going to ask you why. So get used to looking for it and finding it and building a story behind it. The absence of drama can also be interesting. If something's flatlining and just steady and predictable, there's a story behind that. It's actually pretty rare, more rare than you'd think to have a predictable data flow going. So find stories and look for holes. That's pretty cool. Convert it into plain English. I am so tired of people telling me that 1.47% did this. I don't give a fuck. You could have actually an easier way to frame it would say 1 or 2 out of every 100 people did this. Can you see how one is much more easy to understand than the other, particularly if you're talking to non-data savvy or non-tech centric people? Convert it back to plain English. Another good one, 5%, 1 in 20 people did this. It just makes it so much easier to understand when you're telling a story. Cool. Never ever rely on a single source. I think this applies to just beyond data as well, journalism, for example. But never rely on a singular source of data. In digital marketing in particular, it's quite often to see Facebook data not aligned with what you see with Google data. This is fine, but you want to evaluate it against a multiple set of lens, just so you're interrogating and make sure everything's firing correctly. Another good example is, sales, actual physical sales versus what you see in Shopify. Just interrogate more than one source. Cool. That was a quicker video, I hope, than some of the epic sagas that I've released lately. We just got some odd news in Melbourne. The numbers aren't getting much better, so it's a bit upsetting for us in lockdown in Melbourne. We'll power through it, and I guess that was some of the prompt for this, because data's coming out at the moment, and being a bit more literate around understanding the data and what it's telling us can be really helpful. Stay safe. Thanks for listening. And if you want to connect, best way is probably following me on LinkedIn by sending a personalized request. I'm working with clients on digital and getting value out of their digital. So book a planning session with me at lukemarshall.net. You can also find my newsletter there. So do that if you're interested. Cool. Thanks for watching.